Hello everybody. Before I get started, I would like to thank the organizing committee for its invitation. Today I will present my work entitled Optical and Structural Properties Carbon Nanotubes Functionalized with Porphyrins. My work was done in the Laboratory of Solid-State Physics, the group of polymers and nanomaterials, in the University of Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah, Fes. Before I start my presentation, I would like to present the outline of my work, in which I will start by an introduction containing the different generalities about the carbon nanotubes and the different porphyrin derivatives. Then I will show the step of elaboration of our composite. Then the characterization by different means of optical and structural properties. Then I will end by a conclusion. In the introduction section, I will talk about the fact that carbon nanotubes and porphyrin in their composites continue to generate a remarkable and growing interest at several levels of the scientific community, naturally including physicists, chemistry people, but also biologists, and particularly in therapeutic application in medicine. This is particularly due to the manufacturing process, which is less expensive and easier at the industrial level. That's because of the intrinsic properties of both composites components, which are multifunctional and exceptional. Carbon-based composites showed that they have the ability to be adapted to multiple sets of properties, offering hence many potential applications. The most studied today are energy storage, such as batteries and field effect transistors, also organic photovoltaics with many semiconducting polymers, and of course the very low energy consuming light emitting diodes. Now the first compound of our composite is the porphyrin nanorods. Their synthesis was achieved in an aqueous acid solution, which is HCl, with a concentration of 0.02 mole and 1 mole of 5, 10, 15, 20 tetrakis porphyrin, or more known as H2TSPP. This one was mixed with an aqueous solution of the complex tetrakis for pyridyl porphyrin, also known as SNTP-YPC12. We can see the rods forming in the image down here on the right. They are associated to the good synthesis state of the porphyrin nanorods. Our second material used in this study is the carbon nanotubes, the multi-walled carbon nanotubes, which is characterized by its difficulty to be dispersed in aqueous solution. Therefore, we needed to add a DNA treatment and an ultrasound sonification in order to obtain this black solution that is relatively homogeneous. Then we mix them with the already obtained porphyrin solution. After an extensive or a mild ultrasonification step, we obtain a different concentration of the multi-walled carbon nanotubes and porphyrin derivative. Here we present the scanning electron microscope images obtained for different material films. The porphyrin nanorods present an homogeneous structure composed of many rhomb-like clusters. And in the composite picture, we can see the nanotube structure arising from a more homogeneous mixture or matrix that we can attribute to the porphyrin nanorods. The optical properties were then studied by UV visible absorption. This study of the carbon nanotubes porphyrin nanorods composites was conducted with different carbon nanotube solution concentrations in order to have a wider understanding of the optimal concentration. The carbon nanotubes and porphyrin nanorods composites absorption spectra are presented in here in the two different figures. Uh, these spectra undergo a slight change in intensity and position of peaks, indicating the contribution of the carbon nanotubes in the absorption process. It can then be explained by an enhancement of the homogeneity and also a structure change confirming the scanning electron microscope results. The storage band is composed of two peaks. The predominant peak is associated with the porphyrin nanorods at 420 nanometers. The other peak is attributed to the interaction at the interface between porphyrin nanorods and carbon nanotubes. The increase in the 264 nanometer peak intensity can be associated with the formation of charge transfer complex between the surface of the carbon nanotubes and the porphyrin nanorods through the delocalization of the pi electrons along conjugated segments. The steady-state photoluminescence study was conducted after the UV visible absorption as a part of the optical properties study. It was conducted in order to better understand the electronic interaction between the carbon nanotubes and the porphyrin nanorods. We can observe that there is an extension of the pale intensity in the composite, confirming thus the color tuning, therefore allowing us to conclude that there is an energy transfer from the porphyrin towards the carbon nanotubes at the interface. We can conclude from this optical study that the strongest the quenching of the photoluminescence is, the more efficient the energy transfer can be. All this information allows us to present a diagram of the interaction process between our two materials presented in the figure to the right. As a conclusion to our presentation, we can say that we have studied the structural and optical properties of porphyrin nanorods and their interfacial interactions with multi-walled carbon nanotubes. The strong interaction between these nanorods and the carbon nanotubes was confirmed by UV visible absorption and photoluminescence at the steady state. We conclude that the composite or the nanocomposite with their good dispersion stability and excellent optical properties may open a new window for applications in optoelectronics. And thank you all for your attention.